Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Red and White Show. Joining me for this one, Rovers defender Ben Nelson and Club Doncaster media manager Liam Holden. Ben, welcome to the show. How have you found the first few weeks as a Rovers player?
Thank you. Yeah, I've really enjoyed it. It's been a really good opportunity for me to come and play games, so I've really enjoyed it.
You started the season off at Rochdale, didn't you? How much did that help in sort of getting a bit of a steer on what you could expect from League Two football?
Yeah, definitely. I think it definitely helped. It's always going to help kind of having that experience before I came in here. It gives me more confidence to kind of show people what I can do.
Liam, Danny, when he was trying to recruit a new centre-half in January, he had a clear sort of type, didn't he? He wanted somebody who could play, and it's fair to say since Ben's come in, he's shown he can do just that.
Yeah, we've seen from Danny's arrival what sort of emphasis he puts on playing out from the back and the ability for defenders with the ball at the feet. To Ben, as you said, certainly got that, whether it's driving out from that back three or even playing passes with both feet. He's a very talented boy in possession terms.
It's not easy to do that in League Two, is it? Because you're coming up against such big physical teams and a lot of them will try and kick you off the park, and you have to be really brave to be able to do that.
Yeah, and I think it provides that different sort of test because you get teams that really want to press you and press the back four. There's other teams that will sit off and allow the back three to play the ball out. So it gives you that different experience in that way as well.
How have you found adapting, Ben? To different games where one week you might have a team who press you really high and don't give you much room. Other teams will just sit off and be happy for you to play, won't they?
Yeah, I feel like obviously that's one of the main toughest parts of kind of trying to play that way. I think you're always going to be coming up against different formations and different kind of styles of play, and that just you've got to kind of edit the way that you play to kind of counteract that, and just keep it fresh. Really, can't become too predictable. So. Yeah.
We often see you sort of striding up towards halfway, don't we, once you've got that space in front of you. Does it help having the belief of the manager? He'll always encourage you to keep playing money, even if it does get tough.
Yeah, I feel like ever since I've come in, he's told me to just keep getting on the ball. Even if I misplace a couple of passes, like it's going to happen. Just got to carry on. Because without me getting on the ball, we're not really going to get anywhere up the pitch. So it's kind of a main point of building the play.
Although Tuesday's result didn't go as expected, Liam, which we'll come on to a little bit later on, that back three at the minute with Ben, with Joseph and with Tom, I think we've touched on it before, it's got pretty much everything as a back three, hasn't it? The solidity, the pace and the ability to play out from the back. Yeah,
it's ideal if you want to play in that manner, with a lot of possession in that back three. You got, as you said, the pace, but you've got sort of Joseph on one side, Ben on the other, both willing to drive out, both good with the ball at your feet, and Tom as well in the middle, kind of marshalling things.
Time for the latest quickfire round now then, with Charlie Lakin up next.
Charlie Lakin, 23. I was born in Solihull, raised in Birmingham, yeah. First team I played for was a team called Arden Forest. Birmingham City. David Beckham. I say Messi. Yeah, Messi, just because what you can do on a football pitch is just outrageous. I scored a nice free kick when I was on loan at Ross County, so that's up there, yeah. I've got quite a few, to be fair. Josh Cogley or Joe Powell. Don't mind a Nando's. Probably a Chinese or Indian. I'm an okay cook, maybe. Golf. Been watching Happy Valley. Yeah, very good. More of like a old school R&B or reggae person. Yeah. Who would play me in a movie?
Which actor?
I'm gonna say John Travolta. It was Dubai. snakes. Oh God. Probably go work for my dad, maybe doing ceilings. I used to love motorbikes. Yeah. Maybe Rory's experience in the game. He's got a lot of experience, so yeah, I'd probably say Rory's experience. He's been around it a lot of time.
Liam, Charlie came out of the team on Tuesday night. It was Biggins and Close, the more regular two in the midfield. Given how that game went, what do you sort of expect to see Danny do on Saturday? Because he could quite easily go with all three again, couldn't he?
He really could. It's a difficult one, and I think it's a difficult choice for each game which one is going to come out. If that is the case, we've seen all three of them start on occasions as well. So yeah, be tricky. I imagine that Charlie's put his hand up for a start again, but it's a very, very difficult choice.
It's what you want though, Ben, isn't it, as a squad, for, you know, if there is a below par performance, everybody who was on the bench or in the round it really pushing to give the manager a selection headache. Yeah,
definitely. I feel like it's vital towards like a kind of successful team. You've got to have competition for places, otherwise everyone's going to feel maybe too comfortable, so it just keeps you on your toes, I think.
It's a chance for a couple of players, Liam, isn't it, to stake a claim. You know, I think we saw Adi Barlow get a bit more time on the pitch than he has done in recent weeks. There was a half a chance, I think, late on the game had probably gone by then, but he got a really good opening and turned the shot down. But players like him, while the form's not been so good so much recently, he's the type of player that should be staking a claim. Yeah,
that's what you've got to do. As you say, everybody pushing for whether he's starting or not. He's had that opportunity off the bench to show what he can do. Obviously, training as well. That's probably going to be the big one that's going to sway things in the mind of Danny Schofield, and we'll wait and see what he opts to do this weekend.
Yeah, Keelan Lavery's got back-to-back starts for Rovers for the first time since January. He has his sights set now on his first goal in red and white.
Keelan, back-to-back starts for you. How have you found these last couple of games?
Yeah, I think we went away at Stockport and to a tough team who are doing well in the league, and we ground out a result. Obviously we want to go and win every game, but I think sometimes you have to just take the point and move on, and we did that. And the plan was to follow it up with a win on Tuesday night, which unfortunately didn't happen. But listen, it's going to happen, but this is the crunch time now. We need to, as a group, get together and try and get as many points as we can and see where it takes us.
It's been a couple of games where there's not been a massive amount of chances created. What's that like for a player in your position?
Yeah, it's frustrating. My job is to score goals. You get based on goals scored, so if you're not getting chances to score, then people are going to look at you. But yeah, like I said, it's frustrating, but it's a team game, and I'm trying to do everything I can away from the chances side of it. I think I've done okay, but again, like you said, chances mean goals and goals mean wins. So hopefully we can start doing that.
You touched on it there, the stuff that you do away from chances, that can go overlooked a bit with strikers as well, can't it? But a big part of the game.
Yeah, it definitely can. There's a lot of little things that go on away from the ball, and even just holding the ball up, challenging defenders, not giving them the free headers, free clearances, just the dirty side of the game that isn't very well liked among lots of people. But yeah, it's part of the role, and myself and George or Kieran, whoever's going to play up there, is happy to do it.
How have you found it so far since being here? You've had to bide your time for those starts after that initial burst from you, but how have you found it overall? It's
been good. Really good group of lads. Really enjoyed the training sessions, and obviously the results have been sort of mixed since I've come in. So yeah, we're always looking to improve the results side of it. I think we've had some good performances and some not so good performances, but again, that's football in a nutshell. So yeah, as a whole, I've enjoyed it and just ready to kick on, hopefully, and get that first goal.
And no doubt you'll be itching to get that first goal.
Yeah, of course. That's what it's all about. Like I said, strikers get judged on goals, and I've not managed to do that yet. Not had many chances in front of goal myself personally, but again, it's a team game, so when that chance comes, hopefully I'm there to take it.
Wimbledon up next. What are you expecting from them?
Yeah, we've just been over them there in the meeting, so we have an idea of what they're going to bring. quite old school, I think, in the sense of get the ball out wide, put crosses in, and play from a solid shape. So yeah, we're looking at a tough test again, but we're at home, so the plan is to go into it and try and win.
Is there an element of, obviously you always want to bounce back from a defeat, but the manner of the performance, everybody's touched on it, the disappointment that the people have got with that, is this one even more important to show a response in?
I think every game, whether it's a win or a loss, the next one's vitally important. So whether it's bigger because of the sort of the performance we had on Tuesday, I'm not sure. I think every game needs to be as big as the one before, and yeah, we need to make things right. So hopefully, as a group, we can do that.
I mean, with time running out as well, every game gets more important as you try and achieve the goals that have been set out for this season.
Yeah, that's it. It's crunch time now. It's where lots of teams figure out where they're going to be. And we have an idea of where we want to be, so it's down to us as a group, as a coaching staff, and hopefully as a whole football club to do it.
Liam, Keelan, do you feel a bit sorry for him after the last couple of games? He's not had an awful lot to feed on, has he? The chances have simply not been there. You know, Stockport was a good away performance. He didn't have any chances in there, and Harrogate, of course, was a different performance altogether. What do you feel Rovers need to do more, really, to get more out of the front men? Because, of course, George hasn't scored for a fair while either.
I think it's largely about getting balls into him in good positions. You know, that they are getting on the ball, but a long, long way from goal. It's about sort of linking up. Both of them have done well in terms of the hold-up play, but it's about that linking again with other players, and then their ability to get into the box and hopefully receive a pass themselves. I just think that there's not been quite enough of that. You know, the balls into good positions over these last couple of games.
Ben, it's sort of gone in cycles this season. Rovers have scored a few goals and then not been able to keep them out at the other end. Then more recently, before Tuesday night's game, I think it was 4 clean sheets in 6, but the goals have dried up a little bit. How do you go about sort of marrying the two together so that you can climb up the league again?
Yeah, I think obviously it's one of the toughest parts of the game, kind of getting both kind of nailed on. I feel like we've got to get better at that. We've got to be able to do both better. And that's kind of one of the ways we've been a bit too inconsistent, so we're trying to work on that.
Is it about sustaining attacks as well? You know, you like to play with a high line, particularly with Joseph coming back in. He's got the pace that if anyone does get in behind you, he can recover. And if you can squeeze higher up the pitch, you've got more chance of winning the ball back. And as I said, sustaining those attacks more often than not. Yeah,
I feel like more often than not we've been good and quite consistent in terms of playing out and building out from the back and then getting it into the kind of mid phase. And then we really need to focus on kind of making sure we can finish off the attacks and get into better areas kind of more up the pitch.
Yeah, now to celebrate International Women's Day this week, we spoke to sports science intern Faye Stockwell about her work with Rovers.
So I'm currently a sports science intern. I came in pre-season, so I contacted Sam through LinkedIn because our university offers a year in industry. So I was looking for a club to come in and work for. And Sam offered me the position. Came in, had a little chat with Sam about what I wanted to get out of it and what he could offer me, and decided that this was a club to come to and get involved at.
What's it been like since you got in then? I can imagine it being a little bit nerve-wracking when you're first coming into a new environment like this.
Yeah, it was definitely an intimidating environment to start with, to come into, you know, the only female around the place. There's 30 men every day, but once you've got to know everybody and obviously gain the respect of the staff, the players and everything like that, then you're just another member of staff and you're all alright. They welcome you in with open arms and it's all alright. They're not that bad.
How's it helped with your degree since you came in terms of getting that understanding of the industry?
Yeah, so obviously I've done 2 years at university before coming into here, so it was just about, you know, applying my knowledge and getting that hands-on experience, and it's definitely been thrown in at the deep end and kind of trying to apply that knowledge in a real life setting and being just chucked into everything and getting on with it. But it's been really good to really push myself out of my comfort zone, really.
So what does your role look like then, you know, once you've come in and got that understanding of who you're working with? How would you describe sort of your average week in here?
So a lot of what we do, so on an average day to day, we'll collect wellness from the players, make sure that they're all okay and ready to train that day. Then we'll use the force decks and make sure that they've not lost any strength or anything like that, do a bit of monitoring. We have to set up the GPS for them for the training sessions, so that gets done, and then obviously monitor that during the training sessions, so we feed back to the gaffer if they're working hard enough or not. And then after, obviously we report on that, so we do all the GPS reports, send them off to everybody, and they can see whether the next session needs to be less or higher. And then we do the gym sessions with the strength and conditioning side of things as well, and all the nutrition and everything like that's all us as well.
You've had a change of manager while you've been here as well. Obviously, you've only been here for less than a full season, but you've already had that. Has that helped you to sort of adapt to what different people need as well?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's been good to have two managers, because obviously we've had to change the way we worked under the two managers. They both wanted different things from us, so it's just been about adapting how we report on things and how we do things to work around what the manager wants and how the manager wants to work.
How have you found combining this with your studies? Because of course that's all still going on. It's not like that takes a backward step while you're here.
It's not been too bad, to be fair. Obviously, it's hard work, but we get some downtime in the morning when players are in meetings and stuff like that, so I can fit things in whilst they're doing that and get my study in them. But
Obviously we're doing this for International Women's Day. A lot of women might want to get into this sort of field but be a bit nervous about the environment. What would you say to people aspiring to do what you're doing?
It'll be a struggle to start with when you first come in. Obviously it's an intimidating environment, but I think once you get in, show what you're about and everything like that, it's nothing to be worried about, show what women are about and just get involved.
We are seeing more and more women in the men's game as well, aren't we? And that shows that it is a welcoming environment.
Yeah. Sports science wise, there's not a lot of women in the game, and that needs to obviously improve in the men's game, but there's a lot more like women physiotherapists and things like that in the game. You see them more now, which is good.
Ben, International Women's Day, Rovers celebrating the women that are working hard here at the club. Faye's one of the team, isn't she? Part of the backroom staff, working just as hard as anybody else.
Yeah, definitely. She's got a really vital part in the team. I think she's always kind of a bubbly character and keeps moods up, and she's really hard working as well.
Do you think, Liam, it's been a real godsend for Sam Barron as well to have somebody alongside him to share the workload, because it is difficult for one person to have to deal with 30 players at times, and Faye talks in the interview there about just how much work goes into making sure the players are ready to train, seeing who needs more training sessions, seeing who needs less, and so much goes into the melting pot.
Yeah, I think it's been massive for Sam having Faye around to do that, to take up some of that load. And we know that there's a lot of split groups in training as well, so you've got that ability to do that within the sports science department. I know, like after games, particularly midweek games, the sports science team, the analyst team, they're here for a lengthy period after full time, even after we've left the stadium. They're still here working on things for training the next day and looking at the figures. So having more bodies around has been great, and Faye's been a fantastic addition to the team.
She mentions as well about balancing work with the studies. I mean, we've been there before. It is difficult, isn't it, to try and keep everything sort of at the top of your agenda? Yeah,
it certainly is. You want to do. You've got the pressures at both ways. You want to come into the sort of working environment and make a real impact and make the most of what it is. But you've also got your assessments to do, your essays and things like that as well. So a lot of pressure, but she does seem to be handling it well.
Of course, at this weekend's game against Wimbledon, we'll be celebrating the Her Game 2 campaign, showing that football's everyone's game. It's a massive game, whatever way you look at it, isn't it, on and off the pitch?
It is. It's always a good day, celebrating that Her Game 2 campaign. It is an important thing. People might not think that there's still ways to go, but there is. For making sure that the environment within football for supporters is welcoming for everybody. But as you say, on the pitch, a really big one. There's an awful lot of talk about responses after defeat, but when there's a performance as disappointing, as out of character, you want to quickly put that right. Get back on track and show that was an anomaly rather than anything to be massively concerned about.
Ben, has that been the message, in training? You come back in, and I know Danny likes to review it and go through it, but also not dwell on it too much. You don't get too high after a win, you don't get too low after a defeat. Wimbledon, 15th in the table, it represents another winnable fixture, with all due respect to them.
Yeah, definitely. I think obviously we're in today, and in the kind of review, it's just kind of put it behind us and kind of work towards this next game. There's not time to really dwell on anything with the amount of games we've got. Obviously Wimbledon on Saturday, it's a massive game, and we've just got to take this one and kind of attack it with a lot of belief.
Is that one of the main things about moving into men's football? You know, in the 23s, a lot of time can be spent looking at clips and how you develop yourself, and you've got the time to do it. Whereas in this game, you've got to be ready to go again straight away. Yeah,
definitely. Obviously, there's probably double the amount of games in a season, if not more, compared to 23s. So that's one of the biggest differences. Obviously, playing so many games, Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday. It's obviously tough, but that's one of the greatest parts of it as well. It kind of doesn't give you the time to dwell on like a bad performance, so you've got to kind of respond to it quickly.
Liam, both the last two meetings between these two have finished 2 apiece. Rovers have come from 2-0 down in both. The reverse fixture, Roshan Williams scoring the only goal of his career. That was some comeback, wasn't it? Incredible comeback.
I think we've seen in the last two, really, really good comebacks in both. It's been a tricky fixture, since this iteration of what Wimbledon are now. It's always proved to be a tricky fixture, and it was to say Rovers have had plenty of work to do to get those points in the last couple.
Roshan with the goal that day, it's one that you always look back on and shows the character within the group. What would a result this weekend do in terms of showing that character once again, bouncing back from a difficult evening on Tuesday?
I think it is. I think kind of what I mentioned earlier about showing that that's an anomaly. That's not what we are as a team. That'd be the statement. You've touched on it with goals haven't come, but defensively we've been strong, or the other way around. That was a bit of an issue across both of those on Tuesday night. Now go out and show that again, that is an anomaly, and we can move on from that.
Ben, the season's shown so far that a couple of wins and you can be right up at the playoffs, a couple of defeats and you'll be back mid-table again. The fact there's 12 games to go, a quarter of the season remaining, it's still very much there for the taking. Yeah, definitely. There's loads of games to go, and you can see how close it is from fixture to fixture, how much the league changes. So we've got plenty of time to make up places towards the playoffs. Is that why it's important not to panic? After a defeat, the manager will always come out and he offers an honest assessment after every game, but he won't be getting into you too much. Obviously, he'll tell you that things were wrong and identify ways you can improve, but you've got the belief, and it's a mutual belief, isn't it, between the players and the head coach, that everything you're doing is for the right reasons. Yeah, definitely. We've got to see the obviously improvements that we've got to make, but as I said before, there's no time to dwell on it. We've just got to get straight into the next game. And that's what Rovers will do against a Wimbledon side, Liam, 15th in the table. They came down with Rovers last year, of course. Not had the season that many may have predicted. They signed a lot of experience in the summer, didn't it? It's just not quite clicked for them for one reason or another. Yeah, I think for them, the top 7 were as much as a goal as it was for Rovers. As you say, it's not quite happened for us. And when you look at all the teams that have come down, it's not been plain sailing for anybody, really. So it's been probably it will go down as a disappointing season, but they've kind of punched above the weight for a while. This is probably one where they readdress things a little bit and look to go again. You've got a manager that is promising. He showed I know it didn't quite work out once he got the permanent gig at Charlton, but what he did in a few caretaker spells showed that Johnny Jackson is a manager to be excited about. So they'll have optimism for the future, but right now not doing so well, and it's hopefully an opportunity for Rovers to take advantage of that. Yeah, Ben, I won't push you for a score prediction, but Liam, how do you see this one going on Saturday? One that it's getting to the stage of the season where wins are needed, isn't it? Would you label this as a must-win really for Rovers? Yeah, as we've said, there is a while to go, but you don't want to be letting too many opportunities go by. I don't think they will. I think the feeling around the place since Tuesday night, obviously it were a negative mood immediately after that one, but again, drawing a line under it quickly, moving on, and I've backed Rovers for a win at the weekend, 1-0. Ben, Liam, thank you for your company. Thank you at home for watching on as well. We'll see you down here at the Eco Power this weekend as Rovers take on AFC Wimbledon.